Alright, what's up everybody? In this video today, as the thumbnail and title suggests, we're going to show you how to make a thumbnail. So in this video, it's going to be kind of like an inception kind of thing, because we're going to show you how to make a thumbnail for this video, which is in turn telling the story on how we're making a thumbnail about making a thumbnail. And we're going to use GIMP. And as always, you might be wondering, what the hell is a GIMP? Well, GIMP stands for the GNU Image Manipulation Program. So I'm hoping it's popping up there. We're going to make a new file. I don't know why it's not showing up. We're going to make a new file anyway. I'll figure it out in a sec. We're going to make that. Because it's thumbnail, you need it by 1280 by 720p. So there we go. A rudimentary version of me. So this is what I imagine is a thumbnail with me sitting here like this. Possibly a desk even. In the space. With a computer. It's a very big computer. And then, of course, inside that, it's a full inception. It's a picture of a person sitting there with the glasses at a at a desk with a computer, which then has a person at the. I'm going to make that. This is what I'm going to make, but I'm kind of curious what ChatGPT comes up with. So usually I use ChatGPT as a concept of like giving me extra ideas that are not like ideas that I have, where this one here is what I'm going to design anyway. But we are kind of curious what ChatGPT has. So ChatGPT has rendered a thumbnail, and it is very generic to the description, and it has given us make a YouTube thumbnail with some random bloke with a camera, YouTube play button behind him. I mean, it hit the mark of what I said. Make a YouTube thumbnail that shows a person making a YouTube thumbnail. I want to ask it, have a person sitting at a desk on a PC making a thumbnail of a person sitting at a desk on a PC making a thumbnail. And I'm kind of curious if it has it even suggests it. So let's just spit that off, and I'm kind of curious if it comes up with a similar concept that I've already thought in my head that we're going to make. So I'm going to have to like get a photo shot of me facing this way to interpolate me looking, but then putting in a separate desk that I'll find and source off the internet with a computer screen, because mine's rudimentarily not photographable. And then implement those in, which we'll go through the steps slowly as I start sourcing the images that I need. So if we can grasp this concept of the forever thumbnail, basically. So what I have to do is basically make the thumbnail first and have the empty display, then putting that thumbnail into that, and then so forth and so forth, and have it going down the rabbit hole. What the dog do? Okay, so ChatGPT has decided to literally take the idea, but then use the thumbnail from before that we had, but now he's removed the camera, but he's still doing the same thing. So we're going to clone that off. We're going to come to here. We're going to sit here and start working on this. So give me a moment while I start sourcing some photos. So one thing for me that I definitely need is definitely having a tripod to capture the over-the-shoulder photo shot. I'm going to use my phone as well, because it's going to get a higher quality photo compared to my webcam, which the sun is glaring. If I go there, it cuts it out, but my resolution isn't great for what it need to be. So tripod. I've got space on my couch behind me here, so I'm going to set that up over here. So as you can see here, I've set up my camera. It's not really recording because I haven't got a... I mean, we could record for the extra shot. We're going to record it. Hello? 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 Was this shot necessary? I mean, not really, but did I put it in it? Yeah, I did, and there's my He-Man figures. So what we're going to do here is we're going to now take the shot, and we're going to take the photo of the over-the-shoulder shot, so you can see me looking at you while I have the monitor kind of set up here in a similar angular space. Alright, so we're sending those files just across now to my computer. so I can load them up and start going through the video, adding the video into the video, and then using the videos, the photos as well to cut them out. So this is very Inception right now, so bear with me as we kind of like layer and layers and layers. Alright, so let's get into this now, the thumbnail. One of the things I like to do, because we want to work with the angle we have, and I think everything's flipped, so we're lucky enough we can flip this around so it faces the right way that we need it to face. Layer, transform, flip vertically. No, wrong way. Transform, flip horizontal. Oh, no, okay. Transform vertically. There we go, right way, that's how we want it. Alright, so this is how we're going to set it up as we've seen the little squibble that we had before. Little squibble. Where is it? Little squibble. Can't see it. No, that's table. Squibble! Person there, desk there, computer screen there. So it's kind of like the layout I've got currently of my own display setup. But we want it to be a bit more eye-catching than what we've generically got sitting here. So we could even maybe use this as a display in the middle one. And we basically want to get that there. So we're going to get the size right. So sizing is pretty key to capture what we're doing. So we want it about there. Because the shoulder's cut off there, we're gonna have to push that to the edge of the photo. We want to add a layer mask. So it gives us the nice space to work with. We want to get our brush. I mean, we can also crop it out anyway. We can crop it to resize half of this. So let's just crop it, clean it up so we don't have to work with so much of this. Oh, no, it's the wrong crop. My bad. Don't do that. Grab the box. Highlight this part of the box. Delete. Nope, it's still doing it wrong. So we're going to get the fill bucket. Use the mask. Use the black. Fill in that space. And if you ever get trouble trying to figure out how you can't see because of the white canvas, add another layer. I usually like to use that, like make it like a green screen. Go green. No, got cropped. Okay. Forget all that. Let's go green. Alright, so made a green screen. I'm gonna go here, back to the mask. Make that black. Get that there. We want to zoom in. So you want to make sure your brush is a decent size. You don't want it to be fully hardness, because you want to leave a little bit of furry to the edge. And we're just gonna go around and we're just gonna erase this. I like to manually make my own layer masks going around. Just gonna come around here and just start cropping all that out. Beard hair gets a bit more tricky, so we can bring the fuzziness down a little bit there. And then we just like bring it in to kind of keep some of the beard, so the beard keeps its shape a little bit, but then you kind of like removing it. Because you want to leave, you don't want extreme fuzziness, you don't want a lot of fuzziness, but when you've got like hair and stuff, you want it to like not, because if you go and be like, oh, super hardness, and just, oh, we're going to shape around the beard, and then you kind of end up with this weird beard shape, and it's not necessarily right, so you press X. It's like you could, I could do that, but then it's like you lose, I mean, it's one after, it depends on personal preference. We'll remove that a little bit, but I like to have a bit of the beard detail still. That's just personal me. So bring that hardness down. X to flip that. Let's bring a bit of the fuzz back in. Maybe remove it a little bit because then you got the hair. So it depends on how much you want to cut out. It's really up to you on how finicky you want to be about it. Basically, to show you what we're doing. So because we've got the layer mask. You work with the brush as black and white. So black removes, and then white returns. So it's add and remove the layer masking. And this is what I work with when cutting out my images. It's just a finer detail. That's why it takes a little bit longer for me to make a lot of my thumbnails. It's a process that I work, because sometimes people will use the lasso tool, and sometimes people will just go around and be like, you know, follow along, make it like a whole layer mask, like a line masking around it. But then you kind of like come around like this, and you go, oh, I'm going to delete it now on the original layer. But then you're left with a white box. I mean, you could sit there and kind of painstakingly pick around it, but then you got to fill that in with the black to remove it on the mask level. So you might as well just get in there with the brush. Oh, I'm on the normal layer, and just get in there and just scrub it away yourself. Even if you feel like you want to do a bit more of a masking technique, you can just track it along with the shift and just trail along, follow along. And we do that for basically the whole image, and you'll end up having that all cropped out. So we'll do that now, and we'll come back, we'll speed that up. Another technique we have as well is if you do have a white background, you can use the magic wand and highlight the white backing. Get it right. You can sometimes delete it and it'll remove, but if it doesn't, again, you go to here, make sure you have the black on your mask layer, pour it on there. It's instantly done. So that was like the technique if you were to mask that, delete it, then but it just feel like it's more work to do that compared to this. So got that there. We've got a computer monitor, which we will slap bang on the desk here like so. Pour the bucket, done. So, and then it's a bit skewed at the moment. So because it's a little bit skewed, if you want to readjust it, go into the settings, not settings, go into your tool palette here, not scale. Right click and go down to perspective. And you can readjust it, and we can just straighten that up a little bit, bring that forwards a little bit. Just straighten up, we could always just like bring that way. Transform, they go straighten up a little bit. You can drag in. Keyboard. And a sketch pad. So just drag in some items, keep, it might be really large, yes it kind of is. So what we'll do is we'll just minimize that for a second. Again, add magic wand, original layer, bing, bang, a boom. Go back to here and pull that in. Rinse and repeat. So anytime you need to, just keep rinsing and repeating that. I grab the mask layer instead of the original layer. We can slap that on the desk. Again, if it seems a bit skewy. If you end up like this with a fuzzy layer, just select your box tool down there with the rectangular ellipse and just click anywhere and it'll deselect it. Back to the move. Position where we need to. Now we know that we want it a certain spot. Let's readjust the perspective. So bring that down there. Pinch that way. A bit more that way. And then we can bring that up a little bit there. That one up there a little bit there. Put in a, there we go. Keyboard on the desk there. Line up the monitor where we need to. So bring it back more over here. Go into here, we've got the tablet. So this is again to emphasize that we're drawing, we're graphic designing a thumbnail, you know, suggesting. You got to have the right things to suggest what you are doing. So it's fun to play with. Yep, again, go to that. Wand, back to here, and the bucket. Tip it in. And it's removed. Oh, no, not the layer mask. We want the layer itself. Oh, we've got a bug because we've layer masked the wrong. So that's what happens when you do stuff when you crop it. So deselect it. Go back to that. Move it over. resize it in with the perspective. Bring it down so we get it nice in there. Let's shrink it up a little bit. So we want it to not be like extremely elongated, but not so like weirdly obvious. About there on the desk, because you want to kind of keep it in line-ish. About there. So I can bring that in about there. Transform. Smack bang, that on the desk. So now we've got that there, and it's basically given us the idea we want. So to add a little bit more, if you want again to make it feel a bit more real or like realistically immersed into the image, you want to go underneath. So on top of the desk, but underneath everything else, add another layer. Add that in. Grab yourself a brush, and it can either be on black or it can be on something, just as long as it's dark. It could be maroon, any kind of color, but you want like a dark or a gray, like a you know, because as you can guess, we're going to draw a shadow. So once you've got that, you want to get your shadow direction. You want to figure out how you want to place your shadow, and then we just want to kind of draw a mask space. So we're going to go that way. So we want that way, that there, kind of across there, and that space across there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you kind of just want to kind of give a suggestion of what's going on. So once we've got that kind of black, you want to come over here to your opacity, and we can lower that down a little bit, but we want to go up to the mode and flick through. So we've got dissolve, we've got erase, merge, split, light only, screen. So you want to kind of have a look. So screen's kind of there. It's not really the one we want. So you're going to find the right one that you want to use. So you've got linear burn. I think I need to use the merge, possibly, because it adds a little bit different texture when you start lightening it up. So we're going to come in here, start reducing it down a little bit, so it's like not so drastic, but enough to emphasize that we've got a shadow from this space. We've got the pen sitting on, and again, you can go in there, add a layer mask to it, and just kind of like clean it up a little bit. So we've got the desk line. So clean up because it's not overlipping on the desk. Kind of go through, resize it. Add the fuzz because you want the fade. Kind of want, because you want it to blend nicely so it looks a bit more natural. So again, because we don't have that there, so let's just bring that around. And just put that there like that. So there we go. So we have that laid out. So we've got that there giving the gist of the idea. Again, if you want it to be a bit more, again, adding to the layers of realism, let's go on top of that. And we can either go with a color or we could just go with gray. Nothing too noticeable. Going with a lighter gray. Smaller brush. Bring that hardness back up to about 90. Doesn't really matter too much. We want this to be smaller, because what we're going to do is we're going to add some cables to just, again, add to that realism. So we can make this look like that it's an all-in-one built-in monitor system. So we can make it where it's like it's a smaller cable. We can go like, okay, it would come out from here. Okay, that's too thin. But like run it from here and be like, oh, cable. You know, kind of, oh, loop-de-loop. And then it's plugged into here. And then be like, oh, this cable's got the power thing, but it's running to the tubulic. And we're going to run it down here. We could be like, oh, it's going into there. Let's just kind of curve that up there. That's there like that. So that's adding some, extra detail. To make it blend in a little bit more, you want to then, okay, if you're going to play with that, you want it to blend better. You want to play with your highlights, so you're going to have to go something lighter. Even being what's usually better is to duplicate the layer. Actually, it would be definitely a lot easier. Saturate. We want to increase the saturation. No, it's not what I'm thinking of. No, because it's black. It's black, so it's not going to work. Tools. No, color. Exposure. Exposure going to change. So we go. So make it grey. Get to a grey point. And now we come back in with the layer mask. And we're going to get the brush. And we're just going to cross this side here. Oh, actually, I want the hardness down a little bit. We're going to run across, because you want to give that effect to the cable that there's like a shadowy point to it. It's not saying you have to do this, it's if you want to do this. But it just adds that extra highlight to it on the edge, because you want to just a little bit on the edge just to show that highlight so it's brighter on that side. And then you can just, yeah, go over this, and same thing with that. We want to just add that highlight. Oop. That's going to be a bit more finicky. Got to make it a little bit smaller. So add the highlight around the outside here. Kind of just remove that. It's all about adding the shadows and highlights across there. So it just depends on how much time you want to put into your thumbnails and attention to details for things. Even though it's like the smallest bit of detail, it just adds that little bit more realism to it. We move out like that, and there, look. Oh, I just need to fix that there. And it can be noticeable if you're not being careful. Across here as well. And you can add the highlights, you can add the shadow, you can add more highlights if you wanted to make it a bit more like noticeable, but we could just do it like that, so it just gives it a kind of an idea. I mean, we could not even have them at all, we could just literally leave it without wires. So it's just one of those things, even though it seems so small, it will just add that bit of detail to it. So what I like to do as well is, because we're just in a green room at the moment in the middle of nowhere, we can either have a plain colored background, or we can try and draw that back in to make it feel a bit more immersed. So I have plenty of different resources for everything here, so we can just like smack bang some walls on there, flip it around, do whatever. Which I'll just work on this a little bit more, and we'll come back. Alright, so there we have it. There's a thumbnail within the thumbnail within the thumbnail within the thumbnail. It takes a bit, but you get the idea of the steps you go into making this, and it's not a bad thing. It's like I said, it is actually quite fun. And then usually you can either put text or leave it without text. So you got the two options of like stapling that it's trying to convey, but usually the thumbnail and the title of the video will bring like the message across to who's going to be clicking onto the video. And that's basically how you get the whole thumbnail process, or how to make a thumbnail. That's how I make my thumbnails anyway. They're the steps to cropping, cutting things out, and laying them out the best way I can. So that's not straight. So that's a little bit of a tutorial from me on how to make thumbnails, how I make thumbnails through GIMP. Hopefully you enjoyed, got an understanding of kind of the process. It's helped you a little bit in making thumbnails. You've enjoyed the video, and if you have, comment below, leave a like, whatever. If you don't, it's fine by me. Just wanted to kind of provide a bit of an insight to the whole process concept. But I've enjoyed it. Until next time. Bye bye.